"Sir, we don't take walk-ins from people like you." That was the first thing she said to him. No greeting. No welcome. No smile. Just that sentence, cold, clipped, sharpened with the kind of politeness that cuts deeper than open hatred. And in that moment, everything in the air shifted. Before we go back, let us know where you are watching from and subscribe because tomorrow I've got something extra special for you. It was 8:47 a.m., the lobby of the L'Horizon Grand Hotel was humming with quiet luxury. The kind of place where shoes don't squeak, and laughter is the currency of people who've never been told no. And in walked Leonard Brooks, black man, mid-40s, neatly pressed navy suit, nothing flashy. A calm posture, the sort that hides power. He had a single leather duffel on his shoulder and a phone in his hand. Nothing about him screamed owner. Nothing about him warned Chloe, the front desk manager, that this was the man who had just signed the acquisition papers for the entire chain 3 days ago. He came unannounced. No entourage, no press, no assistant trailing behind. Just a man who wanted to see how his new employees treated strangers. And he got his answer in less than 15 seconds. She said it again, slower this time, with that kind of rehearsed superiority. "Sir, I think you might be in the wrong hotel. The economy lodges are down the street." Now imagine being him in that moment. You've worked 30 years to build your name. You've survived boardrooms that whispered your name like a scandal. You've sat through negotiations where your voice was the only one that didn't come from old money or old privilege. And here, in the lobby of your own property, a woman half your age is telling you, you don't belong. Leonard didn't raise his voice. He never did. He smiled, the kind of smile that doesn't reach the eyes, and said softly, "Is there a problem with me checking in?" She laughed, that small, dismissive laugh people give when they think they're being patient. "Oh, it's not about checking in, sir. It's just that this is a 5-star establishment, and we've had issues before." He tilted his head slightly. "Issues?" "You know," she lowered her voice, glancing around as though sharing a secret, non-guests wandering in, trying to loiter. He repeated the word, loiter. Calmly. Like it was a line in a contract he was about to erase. But she didn't stop. Her voice carried the weight of someone used to being obeyed. "If you'd like, I can call security to help you find somewhere more suitable. The system's fully booked anyway." Leonard checked his phone. It was 8:49. He had just sent a message to his executive assistant 30 seconds before entering, a simple text, "Testing staff today. No interference." And here it was. The test. Playing out perfectly. Painfully. Predictably. He said, "So, even without checking, you're sure there's no room?" Her tone hardened. "Sir, please don't make this difficult. Guests usually book weeks in advance. I can't waste time searching for something that isn't there." Now, by this point, 2 bellhops had paused their conversation nearby. You could hear the hesitation in their voices, the awkward shuffle of feet, the quiet murmurs of people witnessing something wrong but too afraid to intervene. And yet, Chloe thrived on that silence. The kind of silence that gives bullies confidence. Leonard asked again, "And if I told you I could pay right now, in full, would that change anything?" She gave a soft, mocking sigh. "Sir, it's not just about payment. This is about policy. Our clientele expects a certain standard." And then she made the mistake that would end her career. She leaned forward and whispered, "People like you tend to make other guests uncomfortable." Now, there are moments in life where anger doesn't explode, it crystallizes. It becomes a calm so sharp it cuts through everything. Leonard simply said, "I see." Then he turned, as if to leave. But not in defeat. In precision. Because he had heard enough. As he walked toward the exit, a voice called from behind the desk, a younger man, nervous, barely audible. "Sir, wait, maybe I can check something." But Chloe's voice sliced through his. "No, Ethan, I said the system's full. Don't waste your time." Leonard didn't look back. He didn't need to. He just murmured, 7 minutes. The words came out like a clock starting to count down. And for exactly 7 minutes, Chloe had no idea what those words meant. He stepped outside, stood by the valet lane, and made one phone call. Not to his assistant. Not to his lawyer. He called the hotel's regional board line, the one reserved for ownership emergencies. A woman's voice answered. "This is corporate HQ, how can I assist?" Leonard's tone was still calm. "This is Leonard Brooks. I'm at the L'Horizon Grand, downtown branch. I need a full line open in 7 minutes. Everyone on the board." There was a pause, the kind that means someone just realized the weight of what's happening. "Yes, Mr. Brooks. Right away." He ended the call. Took a deep breath. And in that breath, everything that had been silent, every microaggression, every assumption, every false politeness he'd ever endured, began to shift into purpose. He didn't storm back inside. He walked. Steady. Controlled. When he reached the desk again, Chloe was pretending to type. Her voice was cheerful now, the false tone of someone trying to erase what had just happened. "Oh, you're back. Did you find what you were looking for?" "Yes," Leonard said softly. "Perspective." She blinked. "Excuse me?" He checked his watch. "It's 8:56 a.m., perfect timing. I'd like you to clear a space behind the desk. We're about to have a meeting." Her confusion turned sharp. "A meeting? Sir, you can't just—" "I can," he interrupted. "And I will. Because this, all of this, belongs to me." The words landed like thunder in a room that had forgotten what storm sounded like. There was silence. Then laughter. Hers. "Right. Sure it does." He didn't flinch. He pulled out his phone and tapped one button. Within seconds, a notification tone echoed faintly from her computer screen. Her face changed, a flicker of panic as she saw her terminal flash. Incoming video conference, L'Horizon Corporate Board. The bellhops froze. The guests nearby turned, sensing something strange. And then, as the screen lit up, a dozen small windows appeared, executives, legal counsel, corporate directors, each one greeting the same man she had just insulted. "Good morning, Mr. Brooks," one of them said. Another chimed in, "We've gathered as requested, sir. Awaiting your instruction." The blood drained from Chloe's face. Leonard said quietly, "I'd like you to repeat what you told me earlier. Word for word." She stammered, I didn't." He raised his hand. "You said, we don't take walk-ins from people like you. Correct?" No answer. Just the sound of shallow breathing. Then one of the board members' voices came through the speaker. "Who is this employee, Mr. Brooks?" Leonard's tone was almost gentle. "That's Chloe. Front desk manager. Exemplary, I'm sure, on most days." A pause. "But not today." He looked at her and said, "You refused me a room in my own hotel. You profiled me in front of your staff and guests. You assumed poverty, inferiority, danger, all because of skin." Every word landed slow, deliberate. The kind of speech that carries the weight of truth and consequence. At that moment, the room wasn't just silent. It was trembling. If you are still listening, ensure you are subscribed. Thank you. The room wasn't just silent, it was trembling. Chloe stood frozen, her mouth half open, fingers hovering above the keyboard like a child caught stealing. Every pair of eyes in that marble lobby was locked on her, but Leonard's voice was the only sound that mattered. "I came here," he said softly, "to see how my staff treats strangers. I didn't expect to be reminded of every boardroom where I was told I didn't look like leadership material." Someone at the far end coughed, the sound was nervous, apologetic. The board members on screen shifted uneasily. One of them, a woman with a crisp accent, spoke through the speakerphone. "Mr. Brooks, would you like us to remain on the call?" Yes, Leonard replied. You're going to hear everything. He turned back to Chloe. Tell me, when did you decide what kind of people belong here? Was it written in your employee manual, or just in your mind? I didn't mean anything, she stammered. I was just following policy. What policy? His tone didn't rise, it deepened, steady, surgical. The one that says a man in a plain suit can't afford comfort? Or the one that says brown skin equals trouble? Her voice cracked. That's not what I said. It's what you meant, he replied. Intent doesn't hide behind phrasing. He glanced at his phone. 8:58. We still have 5 minutes before this meeting starts. Let's use them well. He turned to the younger employee, Ethan, the one who had tried to intervene. You. What did you hear? Ethan hesitated. Sir, I heard Ms. Chloe tell you the hotel was full. Was that true? The boy swallowed. No, sir. We have 12 vacancies today. A murmur rippled through the board call. Someone muttered, 12? Leonard nodded slowly. 12 empty rooms in a hotel that turns away paying guests. Interesting. He faced Chloe again. Would you like to amend your statement? Her eyes darted between him and the glowing laptop. Maybe I misread the system. Or maybe, Leonard said, you misjudged the man. He let the silence stretch until it hurt. Then he spoke again, quietly. You said earlier that people like me make others uncomfortable. Let's explore that. She flinched. Sir, please, I didn't. No, he cut her off. We're having a conversation now. I want you to tell me, what exactly about me makes you uncomfortable? She stared at the counter. This isn't fair. Neither is prejudice, he replied. But we live it every day. For a moment, nobody breathed. The front doors opened and closed, footsteps echoed, but it all felt distant, irrelevant. Then one of the board members cleared his throat. Mr. Brooks, may I ask, are you recording this? I am, Leonard said. And so are the security cameras that belong to this company. Chloe's face drained of what little color it had left. I believe transparency is good for business, Leonard continued. So we'll document this moment, accurately. He turned toward the onlookers, his voice steady but resonant now, reaching every corner of the lobby. Everyone here witnessed what happened. You heard how your manager treated a paying guest. If you were silent, you were complicit. But if you speak the truth today, you help rebuild what this place pretends to stand for. A murmur spread, some embarrassed, some relieved. One of the housekeepers stepped forward timidly. Sir, she does that often. Chloe spun. Excuse me? The woman's voice trembled but grew steadier. Last month, a family came from Atlanta. Black family. She said the same thing, told them the system was full. But she gave a room to another couple right after they left. Another voice joined in, older, weary. She told me not to seat certain guests in the front dining area. Said they didn't match the aesthetic. Each confession landed like a hammer. Chloe's denials grew thinner, her breath faster. Leonard nodded. Thank you for your honesty. Then, almost conversationally, he asked, how long have you been here, Chloe? 3 years, she whispered. And in those 3 years, how many complaints have been filed under your name? She shook her head. None. Leonard looked at one of the directors on the screen. Check the archive. A few seconds later, the voice came back. Actually, there are 7 internal notes about guest treatment, none escalated. Leonard exhaled. 7 unaddressed warnings. And yet you were promoted to manager. Her eyes widened. I didn't know there were. You didn't need to know, he said. The system protected you. It always does. He stepped closer, lowering his voice so it carried weight, not volume. You're not the disease, Chloe. You're the symptom. The real sickness is comfort, the comfort of pretending bias is professionalism. The board remained silent. No one dared interrupt. Finally, Leonard said, "Let's proceed." He motioned to the bellhop. "Ethan, please bring me the staff ledger." The young man hurried off and returned with a black binder. Leonard opened it, flipped through the pages, and began to read names aloud. Each one carried a tremor of guilt or relief from the employees nearby. "For the next 24 hours, he said, "this hotel is under audit. Every employee will be interviewed. Every recorded complaint will be revisited. And starting today, racial profiling becomes a terminable offense without warning." He turned back to the camera. "Board, I'll expect written confirmation within the hour." One voice on the call, older, defensive, tried to interject. "Mr. Brooks, perhaps we should discuss this in a closed session." "No," Leonard interrupted. "The discussion ends here. What happens behind closed doors created this problem." He closed the binder. Transparency isn't optional anymore. Chloe tried one last time to salvage ground. "Sir, I made a mistake." "Everyone makes mistakes." "Yes," Leonard said, "but not everyone builds their comfort on someone else's humiliation." He looked around at the staff. "I'm not firing you yet. Not until I've heard everyone's side. But understand, this is your reckoning." He glanced at the clock on the wall. 9:05. 7 minutes, Chloe. That's all it took to show me exactly what kind of culture I just bought. She covered her face with her hands. Leonard turned back toward the board screen. "Prepare a press statement. I'll address the media myself." A voice replied, cautious. "Do you want to include the employee's name?" "No," he said. "Not yet. We're not here to destroy individuals, we're here to expose habits." He ended the call. The screen went black, but the tension didn't fade, it condensed. Then he spoke, quieter now, to the listeners who existed beyond the lobby, to the invisible audience the story would one day reach. "Have you ever felt small in a place you paid to belong?" he asked. That's what bias sounds like. It's not always a slur. Sometimes it's a smile that says, "You don't fit." He straightened his tie and exhaled slowly. Now watch what happens when the man who doesn't fit owns the building. He turned to the reception desk. "Chloe, call your assistant manager. We're doing this properly." She hesitated. "Sir, he's not in yet." "Then call him." Her fingers fumbled across the intercom. Andrew, please report to the lobby." Moments later, a tall man appeared from the hallway, mid-30s, confident stride. "Morning, boss." Then he noticed Leonard standing beside her. "Can I help you, sir?" Before Chloe could speak, Leonard said, "You can start by explaining your hiring practices." The man frowned. "I'm sorry." Leonard folded his arms. "Tell me, how do you select front desk staff? What qualities matter most?" Andrew chuckled awkwardly. "We look for professionalism, communication skills, good presentation." "Define good presentation," Leonard said. "Well, you know, clean, well-spoken, approachable." Leonard raised an eyebrow. "Approachable to whom?" The man hesitated. "To our clientele, sir." "And who are your clientele?" "Mostly executives, foreign investors, high-income families." "So you tailor your hiring to the comfort of the privileged," Leonard said. "And that comfort, in turn, determines who gets treated as professional." Andrew's mouth opened, then closed. "That's not what I meant." "It's exactly what you meant," Leonard replied. "You just never had to hear yourself say it out loud." Chloe whispered, "Sir, please, can we not do this here?" "Here is exactly where it needs to happen," Leonard said. "In front of the people who've had to swallow this for years." The housekeeper, the bellhop, the concierge, all of them watched. Their silence wasn't fear anymore, it was attention, awakening. Leonard gestured toward them. "These people run this hotel. Not the marble, not the chandeliers. People. And they deserve to know that their dignity is non-negotiable. He looked back at Andrew. Your assistant manager. You've seen this behavior before? Andrew sighed. Yes, sir. And what did you do about it? I reported it, to her. He nodded toward Chloe. She said she'd handle it. Leonard's jaw tightened. And she did, by burying it. He stepped back, voice now calm again, but colder. The first step to reform is exposure. The second is accountability. He pointed toward the employee elevator. Gather your department heads. In 15 minutes, we meet in the conference hall. Bring every training record and complaint log. We're not leaving until the truth has names and dates. Andrew nodded, already moving. As he left, Chloe whispered, You're destroying my life. No, Leonard said. I'm rebuilding the company's soul. He turned away from her and started toward the elevator himself. Can you feel the tension already? Comment below where you are watching from if you got here. The elevator doors slid shut with a soft click, sealing in the tension he carried from the lobby. Inside the mirrored cabin, Leonard could almost hear his own breath steadying. He wasn't angry anymore, he was deliberate. Each floor number blinked like a pulse counting down to impact. When the doors opened again, the conference hall was already half full. Department heads sat stiffly at a long table, clutching tablets, notebooks, anything that might protect them. A few whispered to one another until they saw him enter, then the room went still. Leonard didn't sit. He stood at the head of the table. Let's begin. A timid voice spoke first, housekeeping supervisor, mid-50s, calm but nervous. Sir, are we in trouble? No, Leonard said. You're in transition. There's a difference. He placed the black ledger on the table. This book lists every employee in this building. What it doesn't list are the choices behind your behavior. That's what we're here to write. The assistant manager, Andrew, cleared his throat. Sir, Chloe. She'll be joining us shortly, Leonard said. For now, I want honesty. Every incident, every complaint that was brushed aside because it was inconvenient. Speak. For a long moment, no one moved. Then a young concierge lifted her hand. Last year a couple came in, black couple, well-dressed. Miss Chloe told me to ask for a second credit card, just in case. She never asks anyone else that. Another voice, she told security to follow delivery drivers if they looked rough. One by one the story spilled, hesitant at first, then unstoppable. It was like air finally escaping a sealed room. Leonard listened without interrupting, nodding occasionally. When the last voice faded, he said, That's culture. Not policy, culture. And culture eats policy for breakfast. He tapped the ledger. As of today, this culture ends. The door opened. Chloe stepped in. Her eyes were red, her posture defensive. You wanted me here? Yes, Leonard said. Take a seat. She remained standing. I'd rather stand. He nodded. Stand then. Tell them what you told me. I already apologized, she said. Apology without ownership is noise, Leonard replied. Tell them the sentence that started all this. Her voice cracked. I said, we don't take walk-ins from people like you. Silence swallowed the room. A few gasps. Someone muttered, My God. Leonard said quietly, that sentence cost this company its reputation. It revealed a rot that's been festering under luxury branding and 5-star ratings. He turned to the rest of them. But here's the truth, if she hadn't said it to me, she'd still be saying it to someone else. And you'd still be pretending not to hear. The weight of that landed hard. Andrew tried to speak. Mr. Brooks, some of us did try. I know, Leonard interrupted. Trying isn't enough when silence protects the comfortable. He looked at Chloe. I could fire you right now and the problem would look solved. But it wouldn't be. The real problem lives in every policy written with invisible ink. She whispered, Then what happens now? Now, he said, you watch what accountability sounds like. He pulled out his phone and dialed a number. Connect me to corporate communications. A crisp voice answered. Yes, Mr. Brooks. Draft a statement for immediate release. Lorazon Group announces internal overhaul following discrimination at its downtown branch. Effective immediately, all management staff are relieved of duty pending retraining and review. CEO Leonard Brooks to lead reform initiative personally. Have legal vet it, then post it. Yes, sir. He ended the call. The murmurs began instantly: shock, relief, fear. He raised a hand. Quiet. To the staff who spoke up today, he said, you're safe. To those who stayed silent, this is your chance to choose differently. To management, your keys, please. A slow shuffle of motion followed. Badges and keycards slid across the table like tiny confessions. Chloe clutched hers for a heartbeat, then set it down. Leonard picked it up, looked at it for a moment, then placed it atop the pile. Thank you. You may collect your belongings under supervision. Chloe whispered, this will ruin me. It might, he said, or it might rebuild you. That part's up to you. He turned to the others. A new interim team arrives this afternoon. HR will coordinate placements for those staying. This hotel reopens tomorrow under a different definition of excellence. He paused, scanning the room. Any questions? No one spoke. Good, he said. Then we're done. He started toward the door but stopped. One more thing. Every training module, every hiring document, every guest service script, you'll remove the word appearance. Replace it with respect. That's the standard now. Then he left. By mid-afternoon, news of the incident had reached the world. It began with a single tweet from a guest who had witnessed the confrontation. Black man refused service at luxury hotel, turns out he owns it. Within an hour, it was everywhere. Commentators debated. Journalists called it poetic justice. Hashtags multiplied. Leonard sat in his office overlooking the city, phone buzzing non-stop. He read the headlines quietly, neither smiling nor frowning. He knew this wasn't victory yet, it was exposure. The beginning of something larger. His assistant entered. Sir, media requests are stacking up. Do you want to respond? Not yet, he said. Let them talk first. We'll speak when the noise turns into questions. She nodded, hesitated. The board approved your reform plan. They also requested a video address to staff across all properties. He looked out the window. Set it for 9 tonight. At 9 sharp, the camera light blinked red. Leonard faced it, alone. Good evening, he began. By now you've heard about the incident at our downtown branch. What you heard is true. A guest was refused a room because of an assumption. That guest was me. He let the word settle. I didn't reveal my identity to catch anyone. I did it to see us honestly. What I saw was a company polished on the outside and blind on the inside. That ends today. He spoke steadily, with the clarity of someone who has lived every word. Some of you think racism is an action. It's not. It's a habit, learned and rewarded by silence. We will break that habit. Effective immediately, every employee, from bellhop to executive, will undergo new equity training. Complaints will bypass middle management and go straight to my desk. If you retaliate against anyone for speaking truth, you will be terminated. He leaned forward slightly. Our brand sells comfort. From now on, comfort starts with conscience. He ended the recording. The next morning the hotel lobby felt different. New staff greeted guests with genuine warmth. The same marble floors gleamed, but the air was lighter. Employees spoke to one another with the cautious optimism of survivors rebuilding after a storm. Chloe was gone. Her office sat empty, nameplate removed. Leonard passed by, silent. He didn't gloat. He simply nodded at the receptionist, a young trainee, nervous but smiling. "Welcome aboard," he said. "Thank you, Mr. Brooks." He walked on, thinking of the journey that had led to this moment, the deals, the stares, the endless need to prove competence twice before being believed once. He thought of every door that had stayed closed until he built his own. And for the first time in years, he felt something close to peace. He whispered to himself, 7 minutes. That's all it takes to see who people really are. 9 months later. The L'Horizon Group stood as a case study in corporate reform. Diversity councils were active in every branch. Complaint numbers had dropped, promotion fairness had risen. The company even launched a scholarship for hospitality students from underrepresented backgrounds, the Brooks Fellowship. In an interview, a journalist asked, "Mr. Brooks, what changed after that morning?" He smiled faintly. "Everything, and nothing. People still judge. But now they know there's a cost." "What about Chloe?" the journalist asked. "She took part in our retraining program. Last I heard, she's running community outreach for a shelter downtown. Sometimes redemption is quieter than revenge." He paused. "That's the story I prefer." The interviewer nodded. "Any message for others who face what you faced?" Leonard looked straight into the camera. "If you've ever been told you don't belong, remember, ownership is the loudest answer. Build the space that refuses to exclude you." He leaned back. "And to those who still judge by skin or suit or silence, listen carefully. The world's changing, and it's not waiting for your permission." To everyone hearing this story. If you've ever been underestimated, if you've ever swallowed disrespect just to keep a door open, share this. Let someone else know that power can be quiet, justice can be patient, and dignity always remembers its address. Because sometimes, 7 minutes is all it takes to rewrite an empire.